bhikkhave pante padupadam majjhima patipada tathagate. Everyone Saranai, good evening, Dhamma friends. Wish you a very good afternoon for those who join with us from East, the Asia side. I came to know that some friends from Japan and also New Zealand sometime join with our program. And if they are here, first of all, I would like to wish them good afternoon. And those who join from Sri Lanka, may you have very good morning. And those friends who are here, let me wish you a very good evening with the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem. We are going to begin today's Sutta study with a special Sutta that is being constantly discussed related to Foson full moon for a day, the Chulhatti Padopama Sutta. So before we begin the Sutta studies with the theme Sutta, let me pay our great respect to the Master, our teacher, the Lord Buddha, by reciting the Namo Tassa 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Fully Enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Fully Enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Fully Enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. It is June 3rd, Saturday here. The full moon for a day for this month is called Poson full moon for a day, and it is today. Many people from Sri Lanka and those countries that celebrate this full moon day take the point that the Buddha is fully enlightened and the Dhamma is well proclaimed by the Buddha and the Sangha is well maintained under the teachings of the Buddha. With this idea in mind, they engage with different kinds of meritorious deeds. In addition, some people from Asia, I would say Thailand and some other countries, consider that this 4 day is the 4 day the Buddha was born, attained full enlightenment, and passed away. While we consider the full moon day of May is the day historically the Buddha was born and attained enlightenment and passed away, some Buddhists consider in such a way that this full moon day is significant for them. Anyway, many of our Sri Lankan friends here and also in Sri Lanka come to various type of meritorious deed to celebrate the advent of Buddhism in Sri Lanka with the Venerable Mahinda's approach, so that this 4 days is really significant for us. With that in mind, we are going to today's Sutta discussion. It is a wonderful Sutta we selected for today's discussion, Chulahatti Padopama Sutta. So it is recorded in Majjhima Nikaya, as you see. Give me a second for take the Sutta. So it is in Majjhima Nikaya. The section number is the book is number 1, and it is right after the right before the Mahavedalla Sutta. The Sutta we discussed last week was Mahatipadopama Sutta, and this is Chulahatti Padopama Sutta. Comparatively, Mahatipadottama Sutta is shorter than this one. This Chulahattipadottama Sutta is longer sutta among the two suttas, despite the name of it. The reason why Chula and Maha are being used for these suttas just because the Dhamma facts the two suttas discuss. In Maha Hattipadottama Sutta, we know the Four Noble Truths are the main theme, while Chulahattipadottama Sutta considers the same thing, but they are being categorized into a small section. So, Chulahattipadottama Sutta, the lesser discourse on elephant footprint parable, happened when the Buddha was in Savatthi. If you read the sutta, you see that the Buddha was in Savatthi, and some incident happened before the particular, individuals, went to the Buddha and had a discussion called Janusoni. Janusoni is a Brahmin, and he seems very rich with various colorful things as his possession. And the other character we find in the discourse is Pilotika. Pilotika and Janusoni were not Buddhist at the time. At the beginning of the discourse, we see them, they are very fond of the Buddha because of the Buddha's character, because of the Buddha's knowledge and his ability to deliver the Dhamma has taken their mind. However, they were not Buddhist at the time this discussion happened at the very beginning of the discourse. As you see, in the middle of the day, in Savatthi, Janusoni got into one of his wonderful vehicle. It's called all white mare-drawn chariot. So the white horses were used, and then white horses were used, and then it was decorated in white, and then it was in the middle of the day, so shiny. So when all these things come together, it's wonderful. So Janusoni was going somewhere while Pilotika was coming from the Buddha's presence. So they met each other in the middle of the road and had a discussion. Then Pilotika revealed that he came from the Buddha's presence, from the Jetvanarama monastery. And the question the Janusoni asked from the Pilotika is, what do you think, Master Vachana, of the recluse Gautama's clarity of wisdom? Do you think he is wise? So when Pilotika was talking about the glamour and the glamour of the Buddha, radiant characteristic features of the Buddha, the Janusoni was curious. To me, that Janusoni was also aware of the Buddha, but not in such a way that Pilotika did. So the interesting fact is that Janusoni is interested, Pilotika's way of interesting on Buddha is something for Janusoni. Then that's why he asked, what do you think, about the recluse Gautama's wisdom, clarity of wisdom? Then it is interesting to see that Pilotika was so humble to say that, who am I to explain the clarity of wisdom, wisdom of Gautama, recluse Gautama? I'm not in that position, and I think only the same type of Buddha could explain or understand the wisdom of the Gautam Buddha. Otherwise, there is no one could do that. That's how Philotika feels about the Buddha. Um, so again, Janusoni was so interested about the way Philotika, develops the faith on the Buddha. So then again and again, Janusoni asked, "Tell me the reason why you like recluse Gautama so much." Here, while Janusoni was a Brahmin, Philotika was a wanderer. In India at that time, there were a lot of people who were seeking the happiness of life by way of recluseship. A wanderer sector is always wandering from city to city. Therefore, the administration of each government built places for them because it's a tradition of some people to go away from home and live as mendicants, debating for truth, by having friendly discussion and so forth. So I think Wanderer Pilotica belongs to that category. And here, Pilotica is giving elephant footprint. Actually, what the Buddha did in the discourse was taking Philotica's simile to make the simile complete. It is Philotica who brought the point that I can, tell you the wisdom of the Buddha by telling this elephant footprint. So this is how he tells the elephant footprint to Janusoni. Suppose a skilled elephant trainer were to enter an elephant forest and were to see in the elephant, a great elephant footprint. Having seen this great, wide, long elephant footprint, he would come to conclusion that this would belong to a very high bull elephant. So having seen the elephant footprint by one who knows about the elephant would easily decide that this could be a great elephant. Likewise, even so, when I saw the footprint of the Gautama Buddha, I come to conclusion that the Buddha is fully self-awakened to reality, Samma Sambuddho Bhagava, and the Dharma is well spoken by the Buddha, Swakhato Bhagavato Dhammo, and the community of disciple or Sangha is well disciplined. Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangha. So when I saw the 4 factors or 4 footprint of the Buddha, I came to the conclusion about the triple gem. The Buddha is fully awakened to the reality. Dhamma is well proclaimed by that Tathagata, and the Sangha of bhikkhus and bhikkhunis are well disciplined. So that is what Philotika now really understand. So these are the footprint of Philotika. The first one is, I have seen or I have heard some erudite Shastriya, the noble people. I mean, these people are representing the ruling caste of that society, and they are called Shastriya. The people who work for administration in the government level, in the provincial level, and some Shastriyas were not doing that, but they were doing some businesses and so forth. But basically, their duty is to help the country, to rule the country, including the king. There are some Shastriyas who are intelligent, experienced in debate, and well versed in texts and all kinds of field of studies. Hear about the Buddha's wisdom, and having heard about the Buddha's wisdom, when the Buddha went from city to city, from village to village, they went to the Buddha in terms of defeating the Buddha through debates, through discussion. But when the Buddha started talking about the particular subject these Sastriyas brought about, they never speak a word. Instead, they listen to the Buddha with silence mode, and they stood up from they ended up the discussion by being the students of the Supreme Buddha. So instead of turning the Buddha other way around, they have now turned to the Buddha and became disciples of the Buddha. I have seen this and I have heard this. So Vilotika said that this is the first footprint I see from the Buddha's life. All the people respect the Buddha, but at this point, some erudite, learned Shastriyas who are respected by the society went to the Buddha for making the Buddha either their students or maybe disrespect the Buddha by defeating. And however, finally, eventually, they have become the disciples of the Buddha either as monks and nuns or lay followers. This is the first footprint of the Buddha as I see. And having seen this first footprint, I came to conclusion that the Buddha is fully enlightened and the Dhamma is well proclaimed and the Sangha of Bhikkhu and Bhikkhuni is well disciplined. The second footprint of Philotika is about Brahmin, erudite, scholarly Brahmin. So the total opposite side of the Buddha's time with regard to the Shramana is Brahmin clan. They were the hierarchy of the social system, and they had made the main confusion about the society, about the way of human life by telling the whole society that the God God created the world, including human, with the division. So anyway, some Brahmin who are erudite, intelligent, experienced in debates, came to the Buddha for the same purpose, but through the discussion, nobody questions the Buddha's, dharma, the way the Buddha talks. Instead, they were listening carefully, and in the halfway through, they knew that the Buddha is right. At the end, they claim their studentship or fellowship under the Buddha, so that they attained full enlightenment. And some were disciples, lay disciples of the Buddha. So having seen this, I came to conclusion that the Buddha is fully self-enlightened, and the Dhamma is well proclaimed by the Buddha, and the Sangha of Bhikkhu and Bhikkhuni is well disciplined. So this is the second footprint. And now you know which patterns this four footprint of Philotika, go on and on. The third footprint is about household erudite people, scholarly people. It means lay people who are well versed on text, well versed on culture, psychology, and Triveda, any books coming from those traditions. So they are considered as scholarly people by the society. So these people also became the disciples of the Buddha after discussion without any questioning, because the Buddha is self-awakened, or fully self-awakened, and the Dhamma is well proclaimed by him, and the Sangha of Bhikkhu and Bhikkhuni are well disciplined under the Buddha. So the third footprint is about household scholarly people. And the last one is the Sramanas. As I said earlier, Philotika belongs to wanderer clans. He was a wanderer. Like that, there were a lot of such people, belongs to different tradition, and they are away from Brahmanism too. So educated, well popular people, came to the Buddha to defeat him, to make the Buddha's order upset by asking some different question. It is said in the discourse, if you read them, when the Buddha visited a township or a village or distant cities, they got the message, and through weeks and months they discussed to make some difficult questions to be asked from the Buddha. So having come to the Buddha, having came to the Buddha with those difficult questions for them, Buddha just resolved them within 1 second, and the way the Buddha start talking has already made them silent, because the Buddha's approach with nice conversation, method of conversation, can attract people very much. So Buddha had such a wonderful way of conversation, talking, and presenting, and there was no similar person like that in India. That's why the Buddha was able to turn the society upside down by way of explaining his teaching. So the fourth footprint is about those recluses from different clan. As you see, Susima Sutta tells a story that Susima was the leader of that group of mendicants, and he came to the Buddha to become a monk, just because everyone in his group told Susima, you better become a monk and learn the Buddha's teaching from A to Z, and come back to our order as the leader and teach the same thing, so that we can get a lot of support from people. Because we as wanderers teach the Buddha's teaching, then people not only respect the Buddha with all kinds of requisites, they also support us with all the requisites. So, however, Susima, turn into Buddha's teaching as it is, because Buddha was able to open up his mind towards the truth. He was a theft, or he was a thief at the very beginning as a monk, because he was ordained. He got ordination to steal the dharma, but later on he became a monk. And there was such incident that leaders of recluse groups came to the Buddha for defeating the Buddha, but it was impossible. However, they became the disciples of the Buddha. So now Pilotika, these are Pilotika's explanation to Janusoni in the middle of the road, to tell Janusoni that these are the reason why I say the Buddha is fully self-awakened, and Dhamma is well proclaimed by the Buddha, and the Sangha of Bhikkhu and Bhikkhuni are well disciplined under the Buddha. So having seen these four special reasons, I say this, that the Buddha is supremely enlightened. So when this conversation came to an end, Janusoni shows his reverence to the Buddha. He got up from his seat in the cart and came down to the floor and say Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddha 3 times, turning towards the Jetavanarama in the Savatthi. It is said in the discourse that putting his palms together in the Blessed One direction, uttered these inspired words, Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddha. So that's the type of happiness he showed about the Buddha, and I think Pilotika made a great job there for Janusoni to open up his mind. So in the discourse, it is said, now Janusoni in a different time went to the Buddha and finished the cordial discussion. At any meeting with the Buddha, the first thing they discuss is about the normal thing. Where do you come from? How are you doing these days? Have you been, well physically and mentally these days? Such things were shared. In addition, maybe if you are a farmer, the Buddha tend to talk about the farming, the weather, the crops, and things like that. It is for sure that this type of very friendly approach made people to think that Buddha is a very good person. So having this friendly discussion, Jana Shoni told the Buddha about the conversation he had with Vilotika A to Z. And then the Buddha said that the simile given by Vilotika is incomplete. Let me give you the complete simile of elephant footprint to you here. So then we can see in the discourse the parable of elephant footprint. Only that is the Buddha's version of elephant footprint. Now we find two versions of elephant footprint in the discourse. One is from Vilotika and the other one is from the Buddha. In the Vilotika's elephant footprint, we have four important reasons of elephant footprint, and they are all about how different group of people, respect the Buddha, or how four group of people who are intelligent, became the Buddha's disciple, and that shows that how great the Buddha is. I think Philotika was also done. He did a great job. He did a great research from his understanding about the Buddha, because he has gathered enough knowledge. Why these educated people from different clans, different field of studies, a different social group, became disciples of the Buddha. It is a kind of criterion to consider that the Buddha is self-awakening. It says that why did the Buddha say that Philotika's similes are incomplete? Because the Buddha, the Philotika has not done a research about the Dharma, about the Buddha's way of speaking, way of delivering Dharma. He has done research considering what people react to the Buddha, how people react to the Buddha. So that's why Buddha said that it is incomplete. So if you look at the Buddha's, elephant footprints, you can see that. Four kinds of footprint Buddha is talking here. Actually, when we come to details, we can see a lot of footprint, but basically, the Buddha's footprint is being Buddha's footprint are being categorized into various sections. Let me tell you them first. First of all, Buddha talks about the elephant footprint, and I'm going to go it again, but basically elephant footprint is presented. After that, the one who enters into the Dharma is to gain the confidence of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha with Sila section, and that's how one enters into the order and move forward. Having gone through such a long but very important period of training, one is able to practice higher Sila. It means the Sila in the Noble Eightfold Path. Then enter into Samadhi section, and in Samadhi section, this particular person can experience jhana, and then having completed jhana section, wisdom section is being well completed by the destruction of asavas. Before that, Pubbē Nivasanusati and Chutuppapata are also obtained. So basically, 8 footprints are being discussed in the Buddha's simile of footprint. 4 jhanas, and also Pubbē Nivasanusati, Chutuppapata, Asavakya, and also Vimutti, attaining final liberation. These are the 8 type of footprints the Buddha talks about. So that is the map of the sutta. Now I just want to go to the simile of the Buddha about the elephant trainer. The Buddha is talking about a skillful elephant trainer, or the one who knows about the elephant very well. Goes to a forest where elephant mostly wanders, and he saw a elephant footprint. It is huge, wide, and by seeing that, this particular person thinks that it is huge and wide, but there are elephants in the forest by the name Vamanika. So there are different type of elephant categories. Vamanika, they are not high, they are very fat, and their legs are big and wide, so that those who do not know about this category of elephant might consider that this is from a very great elephant. But the one who knows about the elephant quickly consider that this could be a footprint of a Vamanika elephant, because this particular person doesn't see any signs of trees of this elephant. Only footprints are there, and no broken branches from high level of trees, and no scrubbing and doing other things around in the trees. No signs, no such signs, so that this could be shorter elephant. Though their legs are big and wide, there won't be the biggest elephant in the forest. So we don't have that knowledge, but those who know about the elephant could decide it easily. So then this elephant trainer, or the person who knows about elephant, goes forward in the forest looking for elephant, and he comes to see another elephant footprint which is big, and having seen that, he doesn't come to a conclusion that this is the biggest elephant footprint, because there is elephant called Uchara Kalarika. That category of elephant has big footprint, but they are not tuskers. They are they might have, but they don't have that long tusk. So that he saw the elephants have rub their back or the legs or whatever in the nearby trees, but they haven't broken the branches from top level of the trees. So that he easily considered that this could be a Ucha Kalarika elephants. They are not that high, they are not that big, they don't have long tusks, so that they are not the biggest elephant in the forest. So moving forward, at some point, this person saw another elephant footprint which is big as before, and he saw other signs also, like scraping and what do you call the sutta says grazing signs on high in the trees, tusk scraping on high, and so forth. Then this elephant trainer come to know that this could be a great elephant, because he has seen those big elephant footprint and scratching and breaking branches, and in top level the elephant has touched their tusk also, so that there is there are some indication that the biggest elephant has come to this place and make some mess over here and so forth. So they are called Ucha Kaneruka. These great elephants are called Ucha Kaneruka. So I think I missed one. Yes, I think the first type of elephants are called Vamanika, Ucha Kaneruka, Ucha Kalrika, Ucha Kanika. Yes, this is the last one. So having seen this elephant, this person goes, not the elephant sign, sign of the footprint and also other signs in the trees. He was looking for this elephant, and he saw this elephant in the open area eating grass, and it's huge, tusker, and unimaginably huge compared to the other elephants. So now he decided that this would be the biggest elephant in the forest. Even so, now having said this simile by the Buddha, even so, Brahmin, Janusoni, the Tathagata arises in the world, who is Arahant, fully awakened and accomplished in knowledge and conduct, and welfare, the Sugata, knower of the world, Lokavidu, unexcelled trainer of tameable person, Purisadhamma Sarthi, and teacher of gods and human Tatta Devanusanang, awakened Bhagava, Buddha, and blessed Bhagava. So Buddha himself said here the Itipiso stanza to tell Janusoni that the Buddha with these qualities arises in the world. And when the Buddha arises in the world with all these qualities, he came to know from his direct knowledge that there is no equal one to the Buddha. There is no one in the world equal to the Buddha. And he teaches the Dharma that is excellent in the beginning, excellent in the middle, excellent in the end. And when the Buddha delivered the Dhamma with such qualities, a particular householder means all of us, a householder listened to this Dharma from the Buddha. Then he comes to know that the Dharma the Buddha explained is really wonderful. It is the truth. So before, I have listened to many people, but I didn't get this kind of inspiration. But when I listen to the Buddha, I feel that he is talking the truth. He is talking to me about my life. He is showing me the right path to live. He shows me a particular way of calming down mind. So this particular person come to a conclusion that this is the wonderful thing I ever heard. Having heard, he thinks in this way: householder life is dusty and with lot of problems. Sambodaya Garavasu. The life of renunciation is like the open air. Pabbajja Okaso. The mendicant life, the being a bhikkhu, is like the open sky which has no clouds, no dark clouds. It's so peaceful, wide, no barriers. Versus household life is so dusty. Dusty mean we are not talking about the dust in the environment. The kiles, it's full of kiles. Sambodayangarawa. So rajasa etanang iti. Household life is full of duties and responsibilities. Therefore, kilesa might arise as piles. So, but compared to that, the mendicant life, being a bhikkhu or bhikkhuni, is like a free bird living in the open air. So when he or she listen to the Buddha's teaching, he or she come to a analysis like that. and understand that living a lay life with these things may not be the right living, and at the same time understanding and doing what the Buddha understanding the Dharma and doing what the Buddha asks us to do in the Dharma is impossible to do when I stay in this lay life, so that he is going to become become a bhikkhu. If you read the whole discourse, you can see what he exactly said. What if I were to shave off my hair and beard, put on the saffron robes, and go forth from the householder life into homelessness? So this decision is being taken by that particular person. Having taken this decision, he abandoned all his piles of wealth, little and great, and cycle of relatives, small and large, shave off his hair and beard, put on the saffron robe, and go forth from the house, whole life into homelessness. So this going forth paves the way for him to be a bhikkhu or bhikkhuni, and now he started practicing sila, novice sila. There we find the lesser section of moral virtues or sila. We call it chula sila. There he does like this: having abandoned the destruction of life, he abstained from destroying life. He dwells with rod and sword laid down. He is compassionate and thinks about the welfare of all living beings. And he also abandoned taking what is not given. And he also abandoned in celibacy. He practiced celibacy instead. And then right speech is being practiced. He never tells lies, no divisive speech, no abusive speech, no idle chatter. So when you go away from these four types of wrong speeches, you are perfectly okay with your samma vacha. So samma kammanta is done, samma vacha is done, and right livelihood is being complete. That is the first thing this particular monk does in the training. So now don't forget about the map of the sutta. Now Buddha talks about one who came to the order leaving everything behind. So it's a perfect explanation on how one can enter into the order as a bhikkhu and bhikkhuni, and what he should be doing after entering into the order with such robe. So first of all, you have to understand sila section. Be away from wrongdoing by action, killing living beings, harming living beings, in practice celibacy now. No sensual and sexual interrelationship with anyone. Has completely gone, and your speech is being turned into perfection now. And also they are respecting plants. He abstained from damaging seed and plants life. There is no such things happen. It means that this particular monk is for attaining nirvana, because he heard about it from the Buddha. So now his effort is to polish his mind to attain to nirvana, so that no damage happen, not only for animals but also for other living, even plants. Then we find a lot of disciplinary rules are being practiced by this particular monk, such as eating only once a day. At that time, monks just ate only for once. Only one time pindapata is enough for their survival. But it turned into 2 meals later on, depending on the situation. But at the time of the Buddha, monks and nuns ate only one time. That is also through pindapata. We do not see that many people could be able to invite monks to their houses because of the economic situation and also cultural practices, because not only bhikkhus were there as mendicants, there were a lot of people, so that they were giving alms for mendicants when they reach on Pindapata line, and they either in front of their houses they gave food, or they go to the road where those people go and do that. So anyway, there was many reasons for mendicants to eat for once a day. Basically, it is enough for them to survive. Their whole intention was to practice meditation and attain nirvana. And if you are not doing hard work, physical works, one meal is enough for the day. And we see this particular monk abstained from dancing, singing, wearing garlands, high and luxurious places to live, and all kinds of money and other currencies. He abstained from all kinds of wrong livelihood. So these are basically the Buddha talks about the completion of Samma Vacha, Samma Kamma, and then Samma Jiva, to be able to be a very good monk. Now, if you practice the Sila section in Noble Eightfold Path, you become a great disciples of the Buddha. Now, Buddha turns into explain the Samadhi section to this particular about this particular monk. Having completed the Sila section one after the other, his mind is now inclined to peace and happiness. It is very true, friends. If we know that we practice Sila, particular Sila called Pancha Sila, 8 precepts, 10 precepts, Samanera Sila and Bhikkhu Sila, into a certain extent, there is an internal peace arising from that I am good. I never break this rule. I never tell a lie. For the last 10 years, I haven't broken any training rule. When you have this confirmation within, you are going to be really happy. That is called Silanustati. That is called the happiness come out of good practice. So with this, it would be easier for you to concentrate well on particular meditation subject. We don't see this particular monk is given a meditation subject to, and ask him to go to a forest or a foot of a tree or a sunyagara. The Buddha's clear instruction should be understood by everyone here. First of all, we need to train the training principles. That's why we are asked to stay in the monastery for several months as a layperson before becoming a monk. I stayed, I came to the temple when I was 12 and a half. So I stayed there for 4 months by practicing different things, including the things to become a monk. So it is the custom. So when you come to the order, when you are ordained as a novice monk, you have to be skillful in maintaining certain things in the monastery. You should practice, the way of speaking pertaining to a monk and nun, and you should be able to treat other monks and nuns, with respect. Because on the other side, before coming to the order, you were a layperson. You spend the life as a layperson. Now you are a spiritual person, so that you have to completely stop all these things and practice the way of mendicant. So having done that, he is now ready to take the flight to Samadhi. The Buddha is talking about being able to contend with robes and other requisites. In the training, you are not receiving what you like, but you receive what everything other people offer. Perhaps you receive something you don't like. There you would be able to be happy with whatever you get. Yatalabha santutti. Itaritarena pindapatena, itaritarena chivarena, itaritarena so and so. Buddha talks about Be happy with whatever food you receive. Be happy with whatever robes and other clothes you receive. Be happy with the kuti or place you receive to live. Be happy with the medicine, water, and other requisite you cannot complain, because you are to end I, me, and myself wrong view, so that you don't complain. You cannot do that. So be happy with the things you receive. And then the first important signs of higher Dhamma in this explanation is sense restraint. Indriya Sangvara is being talked after that. Indriya Sangvara, self-restraint. It is something like this. When that particular monk or nun sees a form with the eye, he or she grasps neither its sign nor its detail. Chakkuna rupan diswa na nimittak gahiyoti nanubhyanjana gahi. So long as he dwells unrestrained in the eye faculty, bad, unwholesome state of covetousness and displeasure might overwhelm him. For that reason, he keeps himself restrained. So he comes to know the fact that if I unguard my eyes, I'm going to have unwholesome things in my mind. Having known this fact, when he sees something, he make a mental note that this is only seeing. So it's difficult to practice, but some sort of such strong practices help him to do this. Remember, when he comes to this level of training, he has done before Sila, Sangvara on speech, Sangvara on action, Sangvara on receiving requisites, and he has been practicing to be happy with whatever he receives, and that training for a certain period of time made him to guard his eyes when he saw certain pictures. For somebody who has not somebody who has not done that training may be failing with the sense restraint, because he has no background, he has no previous exercise on sila. That's why they are going to be victim of those seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching, and thinking. Isn't this showing us that, see, Indriya Sang, we fail with Indriya Sangvara just because we haven't completed our Sila section into a greater extent. We have holes in our Sila. That's why we cannot, control our senses, control our mind through when sensory objects come through senses. So likewise, when he hears a sound, when he tastes something, when he smells, when he touch, and when he thinks, he's going to think about the particular results he's going to have if sensory restraint is not there, so that he quickly restrain his senses, which means he can control his mind. So Indriya Sangvara is being trained, is being given to this particular monk as a training to do, maybe with various examples and teaching. The Buddha or the teacher of that particular monk or nun give a lot of advice. So after this, mindfulness and clear comprehension is given as a training principles for this particular monk. In other words, when the teacher, as the Buddha or his teacher or her teacher, knows that this particular student is now skillful with sense restraint, the next thing he's been given is the clear comprehension. What does that mean? Clear comprehension. It's been practiced with all kinds of activities. When we stand up, we know that we stand up. Not that kind of mindfulness come to us right after doing that particular action. With the action, This knowing should be there. That's called clear comprehension, sati sampajanya. When you go forward, you know that you go forward. When you turn this way at the other way, you know that you are turning. So with the action, you know what you do. Not after the action, you come to know that I did, I did that. I was not mindful. That is not clear comprehension. Clear comprehension is always going with the very action. You are mindful about the physical action when you do it. They are all about physical action. Let me tell you, going forward and backward, looking forward and looking back, bending and stretching, carrying his upper robe and outer robe, ball, eating, drinking, chewing, tasting, voiding and peeing, and walking, standing, sitting, lying down, being awake, in silent, at any given physical situation, whatever you do, they are all put into awareness. That's called sati sampajanya. So when you are able to do that into a greater extent, next level, he is given to practice is preparing for meditation. Now he is going to get a particular meditation subject called karmastha. See, we start our training from here, but when you come to a particular proper way of training in the monastery, you have to complete prerequisite of your practice. That is completing sila and then various other things, including sati sampajanya, and associating those prerequisites such as robes, food, and so forth. So you have to show your teacher that you are okay with these things. Then only you are given a particular meditation subject. If you remember the Susima Sutta in Megya Sutta in Kuddaka Nikaya, the Megya, Venerable Megya was the attendant to the Buddha at that time. He saw a very beautiful place to meditate, and he requested the Buddha to go and meditate there for his enlightenment. But the Buddha said, don't go without anyone else, because of his lack of experience. But Venerable Megya did not listen to the Buddha and went to that particular place. However, he was unable to meditate because he did not practice sila and other important things as said here prior to that meditation. So it is a very clear indication. So I think it's 2 minutes to 9 here. Part of the sutta is being completed, and I would take Maha Hattipadopama Sutta, the later part of the sutta, and also couple of paragraphs of this sutta during the next sutta discussion, because they are too long and there are a lot of factors are there to consider very much with details. Anyhow, so far we know that this sutta develops Shraddha on the Buddha. This sutta suggests us that we should look at the Buddha in such a way. Pilotika is representing many people in the world today with regard to understanding the Buddha. Buddha is reckoned as their teacher just because the beautiful body of the Buddha, just because Buddha is from the royal clan, Buddha is famous, and Buddha can talk to divine being. Buddha can be going in the sky. He has a lot of such power. So people from the time of the Buddha up to now attracted to the Buddha for such reasons. And today, many people are Buddhist because their parents were Buddhist, or they are Buddhist because they can get blessings from the Buddha. And people go to the different objects of worship and do such practices only to be Buddhist. But this sutta, Chula Hattipadopama Sutta, suggests that if you want to see the Buddha clearly, you have to attain to stages of jhana. I didn't cover that part yet, but this sutta clearly tells that how you want to see the Buddha by telling the 4 elephant footprint by the Buddha after Philotika, just like the well-trained elephant trainer. You have to see the Buddha from that angle. Then only you see the Buddha. Just because you see the Buddha's color, Buddha's body, Buddha's this and that, you cannot decide who the Buddha is. By practicing the Dharma, you have to see the Buddha. So now we come to a fact that Venerable Mahinda, when he first came to Sri Lanka, delivered this discourse to King Devanampitis and rest of the royals because Venerable Mahinda was able to really map who the Buddha is and what kind of Dharma the Buddha explained and who we are. Because one of the questions the king asked was, who are you? What kind of Dharma you practice? Who is your teacher? And something like that, King Devanampitta asked from the Venerable Mahinda. And the answer is well mapped in the Chulahatti Padopama Sutta. If you want to see the Buddha, you have to go through the Dharma, and through the practice of Dharma, you can see the nature of the Buddha. So after this discourse, it's a very good sutta to introduce Buddhism to somebody else. But I'm not telling that, that many people get the point, but with this sutta. But anyway, when you go into details of the Buddha, you see it is right, it is true. So now it's 9:02. Keeping the next couple of paragraphs of this sutta for next discussion, I just want to hear from you. If you have any questions, concern about the sutta, about anything you come across in the sutta, you are free to go with them. Until you get ready, if you have any, I just want to let you know that the one who enters into the order gradually practice sila. That is the preparation for practicing samadhi. As you know, practicing samadhi begins with the abandoning 5 hindrances. Kamachanda, Vyapada, Tina Midda, Uddhacha, Kukkucha, Vichikicha. When you overcome, when you know how to overcome the 5 hindrances, you do it. Simultaneously, you experience the qualities of samadhi. The 4 jhanas are the Tathagata footprint, as you see. So, why? Because to feel the Buddha's greatness, we should be able to let go of the troublesome 5 types of feeling from our mind. Then your mind is so calm and peaceful, you feel the great. It's just like you go to a restaurant and eat the food you are you are given, and they are so tasty. Now you have the confidence and the faith on the chef and also the restaurant. You are going to make the restaurant popular now by saying it to your friends. Okay, you go to that particular place, they are providing you best food. They are very tasty, very delicious, clean. So this is a kind of example I give because of this reason. When you enter into first jhana, you feel that taste of jhana or samadhi, peaceful mind is established, and that happiness is not taken by anything else in this material world. There, the confidence you have about the Buddha, the respect you have about the Buddha is unshakable. And if the first jhana is attained by somebody for the first time, that would be the most memorable experience he or she has in their life ever. Later you go to the second, third, fourth, and you might be experiencing stages of enlightenment. So then the first jhana is nothing for you. But when you attain to the first jhana for the first time, by leaving the five hindrances away from mind, is a gorgeous experience, excellent experience for you. Therefore, the Buddha tells Janusoni that attaining to first jhana is called Tathagata footprint. So remember the simile. When you see the footprint of the biggest elephant, the elephant trainer knows that this is biggest because he saw other signs of the trees and broken branches from the top level of the trees, and he saw the elephant in the open area. When you go to the first jhana, your mind is temporarily away from five hindrances, which means you have stepped to destroy the craving. Now temporarily destruction of craving paves the way for you to destroy the craving completely. So it is the first place, or this is the first mental state in which you see the Buddha through the Dharma very well. So friends, that's why I always tell, try to meditate to get the first jhanic experience. If possible, while listening to Dharma, you can do it, or reflection, just reflect, you think about, this would be the marvelous experience. So, even with Yoniso Manasikara, you can avoid five hindrances. So that try your best to attain the first jhana either way. So you will really feel how great the Buddha is. So that's what I wanted to tell you. I think there is no one to questions or comments or say anything about Chula Hattipadopam Sutta, because we have heard about this sutta many times in life. Every time when Poson Poya comes, this sutta is being discussed in many ways, and some people take the sutta just to see the history and popular TV discussion for showing cultural, historical aspect of Sri Lankans and so on, while some people take the sutta for spiritual practices. So because of this reason, this sutta is so famous for in Sri Lanka. That is the Sri Lankan contest. But anyway, in the sutta we don't have any of those things, but Janusoni Pilotika made the Buddha to make this wonderful discourse. So having said that, it's 9:10 now. I hope that people in Sri Lanka already had the Posan Poya Sil program and Dhamma practices, but we are going to have it tomorrow. I think many temples in North America take Sunday for their Sil program from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Tomorrow we will be doing that, so that I think it's the best time to end today's sutta discussion. So thank you for coming for the discussion. I hope you rethink about the sutta, reanalyze about the Dharma, and encourage to practice meditation more and more to be in perfect sila and samadhi and panya for your enlightenment. Having said that, I wish you good health and peace of mind. May you all be well, happy and peaceful in the rest of the days. And if there is anyone who participate in morning meditation, please be mindful that it's not being conducted for 4 days. because of the chill program tomorrow, and Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday we are out of the temple for some reason. So if you are a participant on Monday morning meditation, please come to that meditation on Thursday. So with that in mind, I'm going to say, Teruvan Sarnai, may you be well, happy and peaceful. May you have the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem. Thanks for joining with us. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Teruvan Sarnai.
Teruvan Sarnai.